So you guys have today these notes real quick, and then you're going to do an activity, and then you're going to have the quiz. That's it. That's it for today. So make sure you get everything done. Remember, the quiz is due by the end of the day. It closes at midnight. So make sure you're getting it done. All right. So as for the review, metamorphic rocks form from heat and pressure. How do I know this? Well, looking at this right here, it does say heat and pressure right next to, right there. Heat and pressure on your page 6. There are 2 types of metamorphism. The first type you have is regional. This forms over a large area. And one way to think of regional to keep it connected with large is there's an L in regional. Large, regional. Actually, I think large is actually in the L-A-R-G-E. Yeah, you can spell large out of regional. So say I was to drill down and I pull up this column of rocks, and this is what you would see. This is like my depiction of what you could see. Now, how would you figure out what's what? On your page 7, along the line, you will see map symbols. These map symbols will tell you what is what. Now, I have mixed both sedimentary and metamorphic rocks. Pardon me. All right, so this first one, it looks like a bunch of dots. So I'm looking, and the only thing that looks like a bunch of dots is sandstone. And then I'm going to look for bricks. And the only thing that I see that is brick-like is limestone. And that's the next part is where it gets like, what is this? You look down in the metamorphic, right down here, and it looks kind of similar. It almost looks like you've distorted limestone, which is how you know it's metamorphic, because it's distorted. So this right here is going to be marble. All right, so what does this have to do with anything? Well, regional pressure, what's going on is you have all this large area. It's getting pressed down, and it's pressing and pressing and pressing and pressing. And I don't know if you've ever seen this, but if you start to press something, compress it, it starts to get kind of hot. So as all this rocks and these layers are pressing down and down and down, it's going to get heated. So you got all this pressure, all this heat. That limestone starts metamorphizing into marble. And it's over a large area. Okay, well, what about this thing called contact metamorphism? That's that second one. Remember, this forms when hot magma right here comes in contact, typically with sedimentary rocks. That's what's around this. And yeah, it looks kind of like a cactus. And it happens over a small area. What I mean by small is the cactus line right there. So this just signifies an igneous rock. Because remember, igneous is solidified, cooled magma. And so what you're going to do is you're going to look at this, and you label these again. So the top one, that's a sandstone. This is a limestone. And ooh, what is this one? It's got like rounded weirdness going on. Well, right there shows you the rounded weirdness with dots. That's conglomerate. All right, so I'm going to look at where the arrows are. So this first arrow, I'm going to look where it touches along this line or along this line. What is it going to metamorphize into? So I'm going to look at my reference table. And I'm going to look into the comment section right here. And I'm going to find where conglomerate is. And I'm looking at it And it doesn't say conglomerate, but I do see pebbles, maybe distorted or stretched. So the only thing that has rounded fragments is conglomerate, which has pebbles in it. So what is that going to be called? That is going to be called meta-conglomerate because it is metamorphized, so it's meta-conglomerate. All right, well, what about up here? This little hump thing that's touching the sandstone. So I'm going to look on here and try and find sandstone. And I do find sandstone. See right there. What is that? That is quartzite. And this last one where the limestone hits, I've got limestone right there. And it's going to give me marble. And I want you to notice, I'm only pointing at just that thin line right there. It's only on the line where metamorphism hits. That's not like regional where it goes all across the whole bank of rocks. This is just that small little line that touches what was magma, and in this case was cooled. Okay, so if I was to go and look at some of these, you would find that shall not be shiny. That's that sedimentary rock. It switches to slate. How do I know? It does say it right there. There's that slate. Or, sorry, shale. And limestone, we just saw limestone goes to marble. And conglomerate right here goes to metaconglomerate. Now, one thing I want you to see is the coal. You've got bituminous coal up here. Well, bituminous coal metamorphizes into anthracite coal. That's with that heat and pressure. Now, if you get even more heat and pressure, that's going to make diamonds. Okay, so what I was talking about, I'm going to move myself over here. This gives you so much information. Number one, I'm going to start right where my face is, where the texture is right here. This one says it's foliated. So all these are foliated on this upper part. All these are non-foliated. And remember, non-foliated, there's no banding. You're going to have crystal sizes that are kind of smushed. And then over here, you've got fine to medium, medium to coarse, mineral alignment, banding. You're going to notice the composition. And in the composition, it's minerals, pyroxene, garnet, amphibole, feldspar, quartz, mica. And you'll also notice this type of metamorphism. This is really important. Make sure you note this. Regional is just in the top part. Regional only gives you foliated. And it shows heat and pressure increase with depth. So as it goes down, this is low grade, and this is the next set down, then the next set, then the next set. And this has this is clay and feldspars. This is feldspars segregated by mineral type into bands. This is a huge thing. I would highlight bands in your reference table. Definitely highlight banding or bands. That is nice, is like the huge thing about bandings. So it goes from slate to phyllite to the schist to gneiss. All right, and in the bottom, looking at the bottom, you've got contact right here. This is just heating. And then you've got regional ore contact. So you did see contact before where you had quartzite from sandstone, marble from limestone, metaconglomerate from pebbles, which is conglomerate. And then you're going to see the composition. Well, at the bottom, you got various minerals and particles and a matrix, calcite, and ooh, look at that calcite. What does calcite do again in those minerals? It bubbles with acid. So if you were to look at limestone, limestone bubbles with acid. And then marble bubbles with acid. Think of the Athens tower, not towers, the marble constructions they have there, they're getting weathered away. They're getting eaten away. Like the faces are getting eaten away by acid rain because it bubbles and goes away. All right, the last bit right here where my face is. All right, so these would be the rocks and minerals, or the metamorphic rocks that you would want to know or want to concentrate on. Especially for the regions. So slate. This one doesn't show it really well, but slate is kind of shiny. Again, think of rooftops. They got that shine to it. And then you got schist, which is next. I did miss phyllite. Phyllite is not on there. It's just a step in between both. But schist, it kind of looks like salt and pepperish, but gneiss is even more salt and peppery with the banding. So you see kind of the beginnings. It's not as flat. You've got more roundedness when it comes to schist. Gneiss is flat. Then you have marble. It is usually white or gray and it's shiny. It looks like a bunch of flattened crystals. Anthracite coal. Comparing it to bituminous, this is wicked, wicked shiny. And there's no side that is kind of dull. It's all shiny all around. This is what we use to burn because it's got a higher percentage of carbon. And quartzite. This looks a lot like shiny sand. And then finally on the bottom is metaconglomerate. I moved my cursor down there so you could, like, I'd point at the pebbles, but it's going to get blocked. Right next to the M, if you look over, it looks like a pebble, but it's kind of distorted. That's what you're going to look at, like flat and distorted. All right. So that's it for my review. Make sure you finish up with this. Click submit. Always in Edpuzzles, click submit. If you don't, you're not going to get a grade. So click submit when you're done. Go back, do the activity, use your reference table for the activity, and then do your quiz. With your quiz, again, you can use the notes from yesterday and the notes from today. Okay? If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Hop on the Zoom 9:30 to 10 or 1 to 2.